In this present global conflict, countries could be only sovereign if they have military power, or else the sovereignty is only on paper. And this is the case with the situation of Caricom countries. Nice speech, big intellectual words, and so academic discourse, the Caricom leaders, they well rounded, like they are as educated as the leaders from the developed countries. Some of them even more educated than the leaders of developed countries. But unfortunately, the Caricom countries are lacking technology in terms of military and other technical education to develop themselves into being strong. So they cannot really, they could say they're sovereign when they go to the UN or some conference with the bigger countries and say, oh, this is my sovereign right. I have 200 miles fishing waters off my shore, of the shoreline. The international law say every country have 200 miles limit if you do have a close neighbor. But in the case of Caricom countries, they don't have the development, the technology to defend the border in this hostile world. So when I look at the Caricom meeting that took place, or I don't know if it's still on in St. Kitts, or took place. It took place, yes. The leaders, they were weak. They were able to convince Marco Rubio to change the American perception or American policy on the Caribbean region? No. Okay, look at what is going on in the Middle East, or in Asia, Middle East, right? Between Iran, the US, Israel, and there's Arab Gulf state. There's lots of war fighting over there, And you see on the news, bombers are getting destroyed, people dying, drones flying, building burning, and so. But in our Caribbean region, our leaders, for all the years, they say Caricom, they are not even able to create ferry service from north to south and south to north in the Caribbean countries to transport Caricom citizens on excursion from one country to the other. All Caricom countries do is talk. So when you look at the conflict in the Middle East, now between Iran, US, Israel, and the Gulf state, it exposes how weak Caricom countries are. And Maybe the leaders should tell the population that our region is weak. We can't really defend ourselves, and yes, on paper we are sovereign, but in reality, in political reality and military reality and technological reality, we are not sovereign. We cannot look after ourselves. We can protect our region. You understand? So, in the other countries in the world, they could talk about sovereignty because they have military technology. They're into science and technology. The evolution of military, we don't have it in the Caribbean. Because when you look at the Middle East, Iran is the only Islamic country we could say have a little bit of technology, and also they got friends like Russia, North Korea, and China to supply them with military equipments and so they could put up a little fight or a long durance of fight with the United States and Israel on the battlefield. But in the Caribbean, when the U.S. run its gunboat up and down the region, Caribbean leaders, we are hopeless, we're weak. So the Caribbean heads of government meeting in St. Kitts, our leaders just talk. And they talk until they argue with each other. You understand? Because we're weak. We don't have the military power. So what will Caricom countries learn from the present geopolitical battles and diplomatic policies based on geopolitics presently, when everything cooled down? Will the Caricom countries focus on science and technology in school? Will they encourage young men and women who develop devices and into making machinery? Will they open small vocational school or technical school and focus on science and technology more than academics? Because in the Caribbean we have a lot of people with PhDs and so, qualified people in many fields. But we are lacking in technology and science. So, and to be competitive in this hostile global world, if you don't have science and technology and all you got is academia, you're weak. You're weak, right? So, will Caricom schools in the Caricom countries start to focus on technological skills and so than the academic field? Because in the academic field, it's all ideology argument, left, right, center, center right, center left, and so, and then we don't have the technological science and education and equipment to back up our academic discourse. So we are lagging behind, and will Caricom countries focus on science and technology? Because computer sciences, machinery, and all them things, if you check our media, people who into these things don't even get attention in the media. Because we still look at progress and so on, success, only from people who are qualified in the academic world. And this is why, the reason why in Grenada some educated people are upset when they see tall buildings being constructed in Grenada to change the architecture structure of the country. This is why so much argument about the Milirary project, 16 stories building. So this will be the first in Grenada you will see tall rise building, because our mindset is Grenada was supposed to have high rise building. So just so our mindset is, to be successful and you got to be intelligent only in academic field. So Caricom countries have to focus on science and technology for the next generation, open small institution for experimentation of science. Because if you look at the countries that are advanced in technology, they start from small. Because I remember when I now travel to Canada, I used to work at Metro Convention Center. And I was privileged and lucky enough, although my job I was just a houseman, employed like a houseman at Metro Convention Center, to vacuum floor and set up different style of rooms for conventions. You know, set up room for meeting, for ballroom, for conventions, for party, different style of room settings. But by working there, I remember every March, if I correct, either February or March, I think it's March, they just have a car show at the Metro Convention Center in Toronto. And I was lucky to see cars, the invention of motor cars. Because the exhibition is to show you cars that will be ready to be sold on the market in 2-3 years in the future, or cars that will be sold later in the year and next year and the following year. And I was lucky to see the evolution of motor cars and what the first invention of a motor car looked like. The first invention of motor cars, you see things like German invention, British invention, And then you see how they evolve. This is why countries, the European countries, are so advanced in technology, and they could make decisions in the favor. Whereas we in the Caribbean, all our leaders could talk about is imperialism and capitalism and exploitation. but we're not into the science and technology. So maybe we have to change our school system and put a tab on no more new religions coming in. We have enough churches already. And whatever religion we have. And maybe change the mindset of our people to stop thinking when they see wars fighting is the end of time. Because this is not positive energy. Every war, after the war, the economy of the world has changed. So right now, we're into a geopolitical war. And when the dust settles, will Caricom countries continue on the same pathway and say, okay, it's peace time? Anyway, this is me, Hudson George. I gone. This is all I have to say. I gone.